What's up, guys? Mark here. I got a question from one of you guys about how in Figma to set a center rotation anchor point. And it's not something that I've found is really easy to do just natively in Figma. I don't even know if you can do it. It would be a great feature. If you've ever used Adobe Illustrator, you're probably familiar with this, and it's built in, it's easy to use. But we kind of have to do a little bit of a workaround in Figma, and that's okay because I found this little hack. So I just figured this out one day, and ever since then, my head exploded, and I haven't been able to look back. So I'm trying to think of different use cases where this would be applicable, and the first thing that popped into my head is like a speedometer gauge in a car dashboard. So if you want to show a prototype of a gauge going from speed A to speed B, and you want to show that visually, this would be a great way to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a frame here. Let's just have it be 500 by 500 just for the sake of this example. It could be whatever you want. We're going to get rid of the color there. So we have 500 by 500. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create kind of the little needle gauge aspect of this. First thing you'll want to do, I guess you don't have to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to remove clip content because I want to be able to show everything. So we're going to put this in the middle of the frame and half of the circle being at the bottom right here. So we're just going to change the color, and then we're going to create the actual gauge needle. It can be whatever dimensions, it really doesn't even matter. So we're going to have this go to the bottom of the frame. You can see it's at the bottom of the frame right now. And then I'm just going to make this a little more gauge-like. We don't really have to do this, but my OCD would be going crazy if I didn't do it. So we're going to make this kind of orange to simulate a gauge. Don't want to do stroke. And okay. And then we're going to put this behind. There we go. So we've got, you can already see how this is starting to kind of come to life as a speedometer gauge. But if we try to rotate this frame, because in your prototypes, you're going to have to go from different states and you're going to have to show that rotation somehow. If we try to rotate it as it is right now, you can see everything is rotating kind of around the outside of the frame. That is not what we want. So if we want this to be a center point or have a center kind of arc point, what we're going to do is we're going to take this frame and we're going to extend the height of the frame twice the amount of the original height. So if you remember, we created this frame at 500 by 500. So we're going to extend the height of the frame to 1,000. 500 times 2 is 1,000. So it's very important that you double the height of the frame exactly. Otherwise, it's not going to work as we intend it to. So now if we select this frame and we try to rotate it, if you remember before when we rotated it, it rotated around the outside of the frame. Not what we want, not what speedometer gauges do. Now, if we try to rotate this frame, you can see that it's rotating around this center point along an arc. So if we're going from speed A to speed B in our prototype, this is how we would show it. So pretty cool. It's a little hacky. It's very hacky, but it is an easy workaround if you want to create an animated prototype that shows something like this, since from what I've seen, there is no way to natively do this in Figma. So hopefully you guys found this helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.